Welcome to It Seems Complicated. It's human.
Obviously. Thanks for the ride, Bo. I have a question though. What were all those numbered metal plates on those sticks on the side of the road?
X, I told you to not open the trunk till we got here. What if someone saw you on the highway? I don't really need an alien kidnapping charge on my record.
On your record? Don't worry, babe. I never opened the truck. I just used my scanner to see what was out there. What's the point of those plates?
Oh, okay. You probably mean the speed limits?
Just answer the damn question.
Hey, X, what the heck was that? Where did you learn to talk like this?
Sorry, Bobo. You told me to watch TV to get familiar with your language, so I did. I like the movies with people in uniform.
I preferred it when you used TVs just to shoot down asteroids instead of watching cops movies.
I'm not shooting them down, I'm just deflecting them.
Whatever. Anyway, speed limits are just there to remind you that you can't go faster than what's written on them in that specific place.
Why can't you go faster?
Simple. Because it's the law.
What's the law?
Simple. It's a set of rules and norms that regulate what you can and cannot do.
Why do you need them?
X, I told you. It's complicated. You need them because without them, everyone would do whatever they want and nothing would work and people would not be safe.
Oh, interesting. Protecting humans from themselves. Have you always got laws?
Humans have had laws ever since almost 4,000 years ago, probably even before that. But the first written law code still in existence today is the Code of Hammurabi, which was found on a tablet in the famous land between the two rivers, which you certainly remember by now.
I do, but their carriages could not go that fast to need speed limits, I guess. So what were the laws needed back then?
Let's see. First, if a man commits a murder, that man must be killed. Second, if a man commits a robbery, he will be killed. Third, if a man commits a kidnapping,
Like alien kidnapping?
hey, you wanted to get out of the house. Anyway, it goes on like this, and it seems back then they were very clear on what was important not to do. Kill, steal, adultery, and a few more things.
Oh, I see. Before I ask you what adultery is, I have a more important question. Punishing someone who killed someone else by killing him does not recursively extinguish the whole society? Except the last one, of course, since there is no one else to punish him, so it's condemned to a lonely existence?
No, that's not how it works. See, if someone is killing someone else to enforce the law, then that is not a crime.
So if someone killed you today because you were going 10 units above the speed limit, he would not be committing a crime, right?
No. The law from thousands of years ago were made by societies that were primitive and...
Underdeveloped?
Yes, precisely. We are not barbarians. We don't kill people to enforce the law all the time nowadays.
So, whatever the crime, nobody gets killed by your system anymore?
Not always. Not in all places. And if they do, at least it's quick. And for some horrible crimes, some people think we should still do that. I hope to never join the list of the 185 people who were sentenced to death and then have been exonerated and released since 1973. And definitely not the 20 death row prisoners who were executed but possibly innocent. And those are just in one single country. You just can't hit Ctrl-Z on some things.
Oh, I see. 4,000 years.
And by the way, I was not that much above the speed limit.
So if you go 1 unit above the limit, that's okay?
Sure.
2?
Sure.
10?
Okay, that is maybe too much, but it was better than, say, 22.
Oh, I see. Random numbers. Why do they specify a fixed speed anyway?
Well, because, you have to have a limit. People are irresponsible. If they did not specify a speed, they would go even, say, 42 above our current limits. Those are the real criminals that endanger society, and what they do is terrible and illegal.
Oh, I see. Irresponsible real criminals. What I meant is, why do you measure the speed instead of the actual ability of the driver to drive safely?
Oh, we do. We are very well organized indeed. See, nobody can drive if they don't have a driver's license. To get one, you have to study, practice, and pass a test to demonstrate that you are able to drive well and respect the traffic rules. This way, you are sure that all people who are driving a car respect the rules, drive safe, and don't endanger themselves and others.
Oh, I see. You don't need a test to become president, but you need one to drive a car. Did you take the test?
Of course I did.
Did you pass it?
Of course I passed it.
So, why don't you respect the limits?
Oh, X, I passed that test 20 years ago. I know how to drive well now, so even if I go just a little faster, it's not a big risk to anyone.
Oh, I see. Custom limits. So, after you take the test once, you don't have to take it anymore, and they just assume you will drive well forever?
Um, Unless you have some health issues that impair your ability to drive or you break the law, pretty much, yes.
Oh, I see. So everyone can get a driver's license if they pass the test?
Yes. Actually, no. You also have to be a certain age.
Why?
Because you can't trust someone too young with driving a car. They are dangerous.
So the day before they are such age, they are dangerous, but the day after, they are not dangerous anymore.
Um, yes?
You really give a lot of importance to how many times someone has been around the sun.
It's not just that. There are also laws to control the state of a driver. For example, if someone has drank too much alcohol, they are not allowed to drive.
How much?
There is a limit.
A fixed one again?
Yes.
Don't chemicals affect people differently?
X. Everyone is equal before the law. We can't just make laws to cover all the possible scenarios, edge cases, and particular situations to make sure that everyone gets evaluated in the right context. That seems too,
Fair, reasonable, logic,
no,
advanced, intelligent, wise,
no,
obvious, evident, manifest.
no. I was gonna say complicated. You really are working on your vocabulary.
Anyway, if nothing happened at 10 above the limit, is something happening above 42? Or is this like with borders again?
Well, if they catch you, you would be in big trouble. You would have to pay a fine. They might not allow you to drive for a while, and in some countries, you might even end up in jail.
So, if they don't catch you, it's not illegal?
Well, it still is, but the laws are just words on paper if they don't get enforced.
Oh, I see. Just words. So, who is enforcing them?
The law enforcement agencies. Their job is to control that everyone else follows the rules. And if they are not around, good citizens call them to let them know someone is breaking the law, so they can go check. You know, if you see something, say something.
Oh, say something. Are we good citizens?
Of course we are.
So, I should tell them you were speeding today. How do I call them?
No, X, no.
But you said.
I know, but see, this was just a small thing. It's not a big deal. It's not that I skipped a stop or a red light or did something really dangerous breaking important laws.
Oh, I see. Important laws. So people respect the important laws because breaking those really endangers people.
They should.
Oh, I see. So why did you tell me to check left and right before crossing the road, even if the light was green? Shouldn't you just trust everyone would follow the important laws because breaking those really endangers people?
Um, yeah. Well, almost all citizens. Some are just criminals. But also, you never know. People might get distracted, and even if they want to follow the law, maybe they just don't realize they are breaking it. For instance, when someone is driving and just passes the limit by 10 without even realizing it because he's worried of getting caught with an alien in his trunk.
Oh, I see. So if you don't break the law on purpose, you don't get punished?
Well, it depends on the type of crime and in which country, because I tell you now before you ask, as you can guess, laws are different in different countries. And before you draw the wrong conclusions, this is just a coincidence. You shouldn't think humans can't agree on anything just based on this.
And languages,
Yeah.
government type,
Oh, yeah.
religion,
Yeah. That too.
money.
Oh, that, yes.
One coincidence is just a coincidence. Two coincidences are a clue. Three coincidences are a proof. Unfortunately, the movie did not say what was five, but I'm starting to see a human pattern here.
But this time, there actually is something that is accepted almost universally. I mean, universally only on this planet. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Oh, universal law. What is it?
It's a law that was proclaimed in Paris on the 10th of December 1948 by the United Nations, or UN, an international organization to maintain peace and security and essentially making the world a better place. A few years after the end of that second big bad war I told you about, and all 193 member states of the UN have ratified at least one of the 9 binding treaties influenced by the declaration, with the vast majority ratifying 4 or more. The document is the most translated in the world. It's been translated in 530 languages.
Oh, I see. 193 countries, 530 languages, speaking about agreement.
Seriously? That is what you got out of it? This document states the very basis of the values of this planet. It says, everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration, without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status.
Oh, I see. So there are more than five. The human pattern gets bigger. But I understand why you say it's important since almost all the countries voted to agree with this.
Um, I never said everybody voted for it. Actually, when they voted for it, 48 countries voted in favor, 8 abstained, and 2 did not vote at all. And,
Wait, these do not sum up to 193?
oh, yeah, well, in 1948, only 58 countries were part of the UN. Now they are 193.
Oh, I see. What were you saying?
Um, Also, that not all United Nations members states ratified all the treaties.
Oh, why not?
The biggest disagreement comes from the incompatibility of some of the rights in the declaration with the religious law some countries follow.
Oh, I see. Religion as law. And since you just said the Declaration states that everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any religion, they have to respect their religion too, right?
Um, yeah, it's kind of a paradox indeed.
What's a paradox?
It's a statement which, despite apparently sound reasoning from acceptable premises, leads to a conclusion that seems logically unacceptable or self-contradictory.
Oh, I don't get it.
Okay, here's an example. If I say, this statement is a lie, if it is a lie, that makes the statement true, and therefore it's not a lie, which is contradictory with what the statement states.
Oh, I don't see the contradiction. At least not if you think five-dimensionally, but it's okay. Your explanation feels like going in a loop, and I don't like loops.
Okay, just don't start spinning. The important thing is that by agreeing with the declaration, governments undertake to put into place domestic measures and legislation compatible with their treaty obligations and duties.
Oh, I see. So each country has one set of laws that are aligned with the declaration?
Hmm, not exactly one set. See, countries are often divided in geographical regions, areas, counties, cities, and each level of that hierarchy has its own laws and regulations that should be in line with the ones above.
Oh, I see. More divisions. And all this declaration is made of words, right?
Yes,
If the laws are made of words, and you always tell me that words can be interpreted, how do they decide which way to interpret them to make sure all cases and people are evaluated the same way?
sure, the same way. Well, there are several justice systems, and the way they operate is very different and complex. But since I am sure you will give me enough trouble, even if I keep it just high level, I will at least do that, okay?
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth. Sorry, look at what you have done. That's one of my favorite movies, and I got carried away.
It's okay, Bobo. I like it too. They all have uniforms.
You don't need to wear a patch on your arm to have honor. Oh, I did it again. So, back to us. There are a few different legal systems. By the face you made a few minutes ago, you should remember already that some countries follow a religious law.
Yes, answering existential questions, owning countries, and now making law.
Yeah. Others have customary law. They are based on patterns of behaviors or customs that have come to be accepted as legal requirements or rules of conduct within a particular country. The laws of customary legal systems are usually unwritten and are often dispensed by elders, passed down through generations.
Oh, I see. So sometimes they are only words on a paper, but some other time there is not even the paper.
Yes. Then there are civil law and common law. Civil law is the most used, and the main idea is that the source of law comes from written laws.
Oh, I see. The ones that do come with paper.
Yeah, those ones. In these systems, usually there are one or more judges who evaluate if people did something wrong breaking the law or not.
Oh, I see. So if it's only one, does it all depend on them?
Pretty much.
How do they become a judge?
It depends on the country and on what type of trial, but they might be nominated or just do it as their career. In that case, it's their job, like any other job. They study, pass an exam, and get more experienced as they progress in their career.
So are some of them better than others, like any other job?
Hmm, I guess. Instead, in the common law system, the law is based on all the prior cases until that moment. A case that has been judged becomes a precedent for all similar cases in the future. So they keep consistency with the past and everyone gets the same treatment as the ones judged before, even if it's decades before. Also, judges are more there to help a jury of peers follow the right process to decide if the person accused of a crime is innocent or not.
What's a jury of peers?
It's a jury of citizens equals to the one who is being judged, so that it is representative of the population, meaning a group of people usually randomly selected among the adult population of the country to evaluate the case.
Oh, I see. Equals. So if the one accused to have committed a crime, like stealing a plasma TV, has an IQ of 450, has an intergalactic degree in pre-enlightenment societies, and is green, does that mean the jury has to be made of individuals like that too? Correct?
No, you have more than half of a chance to get someone who hasn't graduated from college, does not have a qualified job, and spent 20% of their awake life watching TV.
Oh, I see. Representative of society. And then 20% threshold is because they have to be experts on TVs?
No, that's the average time adults spend in front of it. They don't need to be experts in anything at all.
Oh, I see. At least they could become president then. By the way, if the law is based on the precedent cases, does that mean that the principles applied to judge someone decades ago are applied for decades?
Um, let's say I'm not a lawyer.
And whether it's judges or juries, don't you still have the issue of interpreting the words in a way or another?
X, it doesn't matter. In both systems, if you're not happy with the result, you can appeal. And if you're lucky, you can get a whole new trial started like nothing happened.
Oh, I see. Lucky. Maybe you were right. I can't handle the truth.
And I haven't even gotten to the mixed systems, which are a combination of the other ones.
Oh, it's complicated.
I told you, as usual.
All this law thing is very confusing to me. Let me see if I understand it. Everyone is equal before the law, right?
Yes, good job, X. That's the most important thing.
Good. You have regulations that make something common, like driving, becoming completely legal or illegal based on if you covered plus or minus an angle of 0.986 degrees around the sun.
Yeah,
And instead of having a method or device that actually calculates the actual ability of someone to drive, you have some static limits that apply like a blanket to everyone and at every moment, in spite of the actual situation and context.
yes. If you think that is stupid, you should wait to hear about how in several countries you can't wear lacy underwear if it is not made by at least 6% of cotton.
Underwear?
It's okay, we don't need to talk about that. Or adulterium before you ask. I am not ready for that. By the way, from all your questions, it seems you're not familiar with laws. How is your planet? Don't you dread a planet would just fall apart if everyone starts breaking the law?
I never broke the law. I am the law.
That's it. No more movies for you until you stop this. So, do you have laws on your planet or not?
Sure, we have the same ones you have here, even though, surprisingly, you did not mention them. We follow the laws of math, logic, and physics. Also, we have another one that we call. I think in your language it would probably translate to common sense.
Of course we have those. The first three at least. But how do those help you solve the speed limit?
Oh, that's simple. Physics tells you that two bodies of matter cannot exist in the same place at the same time, in this dimension at least. Logic tells you that you need to find a way to not be one of those two bodies. Math helps you calculate the speed and distance you should keep from others so that you would never collide with them. Finally, common sense tells you that you should adjust those calculations based on your conditions, the ones of your vehicle, the ones of the environment, and the context. All this in real time.
Sure. And don't you get so distracted by having to calculate all those things all the time so that paradoxically you are devoting less attention to driving, making it even more unsafe?
No paradox, again. We don't calculate those things. Our vehicles do. They also talk to each other so that if the conditions change too quickly, they still can adjust immediately before it's too late using their sensors.
Oh, I see.
I'm surprised that you are surprised. This technology was available to our ancestors even way before Enlightenment. It should be available even to humans right now. How do you regulate the traffic of the flying machines that have to guarantee the safety of the hundreds of humans they carry within them?
Some of our cars are starting to have those things indeed, if you can pay for them. But yes, almost all modern aircrafts have that. It's called Traffic Collision Avoidance System. Based on the signal the airplane emits with their transponder, it warns the pilot if it thinks a possible mid-air collision might happen.
Oh, I see. Still relying on humans. And for the cars, you still prefer to use numbers printed on metal plates, which never change across different traffic speed, congestion, meteorologic conditions, driver's attention, physical and emotional state, weight of the vehicle, and type of safety systems it's equipped with, status of its maintenance, and its wear and tear. And if someone does not respect the limit and nobody sees it, nothing happens, right?
Sort of. But that's completely different.
How so?
We can't stick speed limits on clouds. And don't look at me, I don't make the laws.
Who makes the laws?
The legislative branch of a government.
Who?
Politicians.
Oh, now I get it.
If you believe the world should be fair, including for underwear, subscribe, share, and leave a review.
Yes, a legal review. So what's adultery?
I will tell you when you start wearing underwear, preferably lacy ones.
That's exactly what it is.